Patrick comes to Pittsburgh, #1 pick next year. And again, I tell you, this could be a top 10 pick. If the Steelers continue to struggle and have a bad year, they could be looking at picking in the top 10. Yet they gave that up to Miami to get a kid who I really like, by the way. I think Fitzpatrick is going to be a really good addition here. You can tell he has the ball skills they're looking for, and it would have taken a lot for them to give up that pick, but they did, sensing the urgency to do so, and a lot of people should applaud that based on where they are and what they have to do. They're still thinking the same way, competitively, to win if they can, and pulling out all the stops to do so. So I think it's a good move. I'd like to hear what you guys have to say. Let's go out to the lines, beginning with Brian in Pittsburgh. Brian, welcome to the Sports Call. Go right ahead, sir.
Hey, Bob, how are you?
Good. What's going on?
By the way, it's Brian from Edmondsburg.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, that's okay. Hey, I was reading about ESPN earlier today about what they're predicting on the Steelers, and a couple of them are predicting that they're not going to make the playoffs and that. I'd be very surprised if they finish above 500. They haven't done that since 2003, and it's just their defense.
Wait a minute. Above 500? I don't know. You lost me there. What I'll tell you this is they reside in the AFC North, and I think the AFC North is winnable. Yes, they're in a hole right now. They're 0-2. Baltimore's 2-0. Baltimore looks real good, and Lamar Jackson looks really good. And I give John Harbaugh a lot of credit because he's built that team around him now. All it takes is one injury to change everything. We saw tonight in the Jets game, quarterback Simeon gets hurt, gruesome-looking kind of injury there. Quarterbacks are falling like flies, man. This game changes week to week. You don't know what you're going to get, and even if you look good at one point, the Steelers have just got to, try to get back on track and do it with San Francisco and Cincinnati coming up. At the beginning of the season, I think most of you would have thought that the Steelers would beat San Francisco and Cincinnati, just as you would have thought probably that they'd lose to New England and maybe or maybe not beat Seattle. You can't predict this league. That's why it's very difficult if you're in one of these, survivor polls to come up on top, and that's why they end early, because it's just hard week to week. And we'll see what happens, but I think this is a good move for the Steelers. I like it. Let's go to Kirk and Harmer. What's up, Kirk? How are you?
Hi, Bob. Flying solo, huh?
Yes, I am.
Bob, look, I had the Steelers, my prediction at the beginning of the year, finishing 9-7. And they're based on that a very easy schedule because they're starting a lot.
Wait a minute, they don't have an easy schedule. What makes you think they have an easy schedule?
Well, the AFC North is
but that's every year. But look at their non-conference, out of division games. New England is New England. Seattle is very good. They got some quarterbacks to deal with who are really good.
Yeah. But anyway, my point was being that they're starting a lot of guys with 3 years or less experience. And that's not typical of the Steelers. Now, with Ben's injury, I like them that they got this Mason and this Washington combination. But I don't think that's going to change the dynamics all that much. I have to lower my prediction to 8-8.
All right. Well, a lot of people agree with you, actually. Thanks for the call, Kurt. We'll see how it goes. One thing I've learned about sports in all these years is you just never know. You don't know how things are going to turn out. Just when you think things are done, they may turn around. The league in the NFL is one of these leagues, though, because they have this parity. It's unbelievable. Every year you have at least one team going from worst to first. In fact, I checked tonight, 15 of the last 16 years, we've seen at least one example of that. It can change very quickly. The Steelers are in a significant hole, and I would look at the 49ers as a must-win for them. You can't afford to go 0-3. It's just the odds are built against you there. You have to win that game. And the 49ers are 2-0 suddenly, and all of a sudden their expectations have changed. We'll see how it goes, but it starts with how they prepare, how they execute. So far, the problems that we have seen the last couple of years continue to plague them. Defensively, third down and long, when they have to get off the field, they cannot on a consistent basis. They cannot cover big linebackers over the middle. Devin Bush was twice in position, but not good enough to stop Disley, who's a second-year man, but, a nice receiver, but he's certainly not Gronk. But it doesn't matter. If you're big over the middle, you can get to the Steelers. They've got to change that. Communication has been an issue. These are things that should be worked out at training camp, at OTAs, at minicamp. Actually go on to NFL regular season games, and they seem to be lingering. So, that's where it starts with me. Let's go to John in Castle Shannon. John, welcome to the Sports Call. How are you on the Borders and Borders hotline?
Hey, Bob, how are you today, sir?
Good. What's up?
I'm doing good, sir. That guy, he must be goofy, your last caller. Because I'll tell you why. Because I really think that they really possibly get like a Michael Vick back. What do you think?
Let's go to the next caller. That would be Mark in Turtle Creek. Hey, Mark.
Hi, how you doing, Bob? This surgery that Ben's going to have, is it going to be like on the order of Tommy John's?
Yeah, I don't know. They're gonna have a press conference tomorrow. We'll air it here on Pittsburgh CW at noon. So tune in, and I think you'll get details from Mike Tomlin about what it is. I would suspect it would be something like that. Tendons in elbows normally indicate rotator cuff, something of that nature. There are other possibilities there. They have not said what it is, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a year rehab or more. Some of these pitchers take. But I will also tell you that I've talked to enough orthopedic guys. That sort of surgery, you can come back better than you were. And I think based on Ben's statement today, he plans to do just that. Bob and McKeesport, you're up right now on Pittsburgh CW. Go ahead, Bob.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Go. Okay, don't go. Let's go to Ross in Braddock. What's up, Ross? How are you?
Good evening, Bob.
Good evening.
I think I hope Ben recovers, but I think in the last two games we've seen competently thrown passes by Mr. Roethlisberger not being caught. So let's not get too
well,
far
that's
down
all
the-
Dante Moncrief more than anybody.
Yeah, but I also think the Steelers could do a good job as far as a competent backup. Mr. Kaepernick still seems to be willing to put his skills back to work.
Yeah, but it's been a while, hasn't it? Almost 3 years.
But when you have a team, as you just said, that didn't work a whole lot of things out in training camp, someone who feels that he could still contribute to a team, and with a team that is famous for the Rooney Rule, they could say a whole lot of statements and still possibly put together a winning season.
Sure they could. But I also think the statement first and foremost for them is winning. And they got to make decisions based on who they think can come in here. Do they believe a guy like Colin Kaepernick can do it? I personally don't, because the last time I've seen him, he went 3-16 as a starter. I think he has an enormous amount of talent. I do. But I also think he has been involved with the league and litigation, and those things tend to linger, and they work against you at times. So is that right? Is that wrong? I don't know. What I do know is that he's been out there, and nobody yet has come to call him, and those who haven't gone through with an actual signing. Would the Steelers do it if they felt it was a good move? Sure they would. But they have to feel that, number one, it's a good move. We're going to take a break. Waylon, Dave, and Marilyn all is the Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call. Lots going on tonight. Call us. Air your opinions right here live on Pittsburgh CW.